Good morning. Today is Wednesday and we're going to get started with our lesson. So, before we begin, the first thing that we need out is, of course, our weekly planner. We will also need our journal entry for today, if you are choosing to do your journal entry today. The next thing we will need out is our lesson 9. And the last thing is our booklet. And whatever you do, don't forget about your weekly reading log. Alright, so yesterday we read and annotated the rest of Hercules' quest, and we summarized the story. In addition to that, we just completed our short response questions. So now today, as I'm looking, I see that I just need to complete my lesson 9 word sort chart and the spelling words. Then I need to read page 30 and record words with adjective suffixes on the lesson 9 chart. I'm pretty excited about today because it is one of the easier days for us. When I go to Wednesday of my instructions, I see that it says for me to complete the lesson 9 word sort chart and the spelling words, and to read page 30. The story is Paul Bunyan and the Troublesome Mosquitoes, and to record words with adjective suffixes, and these are the suffixes I'm looking for on our lesson 9 chart. But today is a bit of a simple day. If you look, Monday and Tuesday we had about 4 tasks, and they were pretty big tasks. But you guys have been so responsible, and you're really, taking ownership of completing your work, and I'm so proud of you. So today is a bit of an easy day, and you completely earned it. So let's get started. So here we have our lesson 9 chart. The first thing I'm going to do is put my first and last name, and then I'm going to put the date. Alright, let's read, starting with adjectives. Adjectives are words used to describe something or someone. Adjective suffixes are used at the end of an adjective. An adjective is a word that describes something or someone. So think of words like beautiful, or exciting, or crazy. These are words that describe something or someone. And sometimes at the ending of these adjectives, there are suffixes. And these suffixes have specific meanings. So I just gave the example of beautiful. Full means full of. So if I say beautiful, it means that it's full of beauty. Able or able means able to be or likely to be. Us or some means having the quality of. So now say this after me. Full means full of. Able means able to be or likely to be. Us or some means having the quality of. So we are going to, my P is cut off. We are going to place these words in the correct spaces. Powerful. Where does powerful go? Is it here? Is it here? Oh, come on. We know it's here. So I'm going to write powerful here. Powerful. I'm going to cross it out. So let's look at the word reversible. Reversible ends in able. Able means able to be or likely to be. So if something is reversible, then it has the ability to change. So think of water. Water is able to change. If you put water in an ice cube tray, it will be liquid. When you put it in the freezer, it then will become a solid. If you take that ice cube out and you take that ice cube tray out and leave it on the counter, then it will reverse back into a liquid. So reversible is something that is able to change or likely to change. So I'm going to put reversible right here and cross it out. Let's go through our last words here. We have lonesome. Lonesome. So that means having the quality of. So lonesome has the quality of being alone or lonely. So that is lonesome refers to something that is alone or lonely. Poisonous. This ends in us. Us also has the quality of having the quality of poison. So it's something that has to do with poison. And then the last one is lovable. Able is at the end, so it's love plus able. So it's able to be or likely to be. If something is lovable, it is able to be loved. So children are lovable. My class, you are all very lovable. So go ahead and take a moment, pause the video if you have to, and fill in the chart. Fill in lonesome, poisonous, and lovable on the. Great, so we finished our first task for today for the word sort chart, so I'm going to cross that out. And we're going to move on to the back side. Let's read the directions. Create meanings for each word by breaking apart the base word and the suffix. Knowing the meaning of the suffix, use this to create a simple definition. Here are my meanings of each suffix. So here's my suffix and here's the meaning. I'm going to use this to create sort of like a mini definition or a simple definition for each word. So let's look at painful. Painful is the word pain and full, which refers to something that is full of pain. Where did I get full of from? I got it from right here because full means full of. Next word, so I'm going to cross that one out, is famous. Famous is the two words, or is the base word fame plus the suffix us. So famous is having the quality of fame. So let's cross that out. The next word I'm going to choose is invincible. Now, invincible is a difficult word. All of these other words have base words. A base word is a word that could stand alone without a prefix or a suffix. So example, pain. Pain is a word by itself. So pain is a base word, and when I add the suffix full, it becomes painful. Invincible is a difficult word because it doesn't have a base word. In fact, invincible has a root word. A root word is a word part that forms the basis of a new word. Typically, we find root words in either the language of Latin or Greek because that's where a lot of English words come from. So, astro means star in Greek. When we put astronaut together, we take that root word astro and it becomes the basis of a totally new word. So astronaut. So now let's look at the word invincible. Invincible. So we have invincible. So we first have a prefix in, and then we have vince, and then we have able. There is this Latin root The Latin root is vincere. Vincere means to conquer. When I put in in front of vincere, it becomes invincere. So think of that as in not able to be conquered. Not able to be conquered. So then this becomes invincible when we have that together. So invincible is, I'm forgetting what able means. So I need to go to the back. And I see able means able to be or likely to be. So I'm going to put not, because this in means not. It's a prefix that means not. So not able to be conquered. So that is the meaning of invincible. So invincible was just a harder word to break down because we couldn't break it apart in a base word and a suffix. In order to break that word apart, we had to go back to the Latin root and then look at what our suffix meaning was. And even before that, look at what our prefix meaning was in order to get a simple definition. So I'm glad that we did that together. I hope you are too. Let's go and do troublesome. Troublesome. So we have the base word trouble, and then we have the suffix some. So some means likely or able to be Likely to be trouble. Likely to be trouble. All right. Go ahead and take the time to complete resourceful, dangerous, honorable, and fearsome. Make simple definitions for those 4 words on these 4 lines. You may pause the video as you need, and then we will be moving on. So I finished my spelling words, so this part is done. Now I need to go to page 30, and I need to read words with adjective suffixes. I need to record words with adjective suffixes on the lesson 9 chart. Here I am on page 30, and my story is Paul Bunyan and the Troublesome Mosquitoes. So let's start. I'm going to circle any word that I see with any of the suffixes full, some, us, able, or able. Let's put our fingers on right. Right from the start, Paul Bunyan was a giant of a human being. As a baby, he was so enormous. I see that this has us at the end, so I'm going to circle that. And on my chart, I am going to write enormous under here. Enormous. He was so enormous that he had to sleep in a lumber wagon instead of a crib. Young Paul might have been dangerous, going to immediately write it on my chart. If he hadn't been kind to the core. Paul grew up to become a famous lumberjack. We're having a lot of us's today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the rest of the story. As you hear words that end in any of the suffixes that we have here, so full, able, us, or some, go ahead and pause the video, circle the word, and write it on the chart. So, let's start. He was so powerful that he could have felled 12 trees in a single stroke. That means he could have knocked them down. When he built his own lumber camp, it was the biggest one around. Remember the summer of the troublesome mosquitoes? Well, those mosquitoes were mean, and they had a painful bite. They were so big that the lumberjacks had to fight them off with their axes. However, Paul was a resourceful man. He imported some huge bees to destroy the pesky mosquitoes. Unfortunately, that just made things worse. The fearsome insects intermarried and had children that could sting like a bee and bite as often as a mosquito. That is Mrs. Schlack's worst nightmare. Their cravings for sweets was their downfall. Just when the lumberjacks feared that the mosquitoes were invincible, a ship came up the river, bringing sugar to the lumber camp. The greedy insects swarmed the decks and ate so much sugar that they couldn't fly. They plummeted into the river and drowned. That evening, the grateful lumberjacks celebrated by cooking Paul's favorite dinner, flapjacks and scrambled eggs. At this point, I hope that your chart is looking pretty full. When I go to my weekly schedule, I see that was the last thing for me to do today. So now, if you haven't gotten caught up on your journal entry, today would be the day to do it, because you only have today, Thursday, and Friday to complete your journal entry. So make sure that that is done. Make sure that you get some reading in. You get your handwriting in. And if you have any questions, like always, please reach out to me. And I am so here to help you.